3D Fitness. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. Last week's video was a big success. We got a lot of positive feedback from it and a lot of support, but most importantly it served as a springboard for conversations and questions. The overall premise of the feedback we were getting was, thanks for the information, great news, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm not at the point where I'm ready to start working on defining my abs. Instead, I'm still working on improving my body composition. Well, the good news is that's great because you're trying to do something about it. There's a very small percentage of the world that's actually trying to fine tune and chisel those abs. But the fact that you're watching this video means you're at least taking the initiative to try and change and improve your body composition. So now that we're talking about body composition, what is it? Well, basically it's referring to the composition of your body and how it's made up in reference to fat, lean muscle mass, bones, etc. And we want to make that as best that we can. Now there's a couple different ways that your body composition is determined. One of the old school methods, BMI, which stands for Body Mass Index, is a formula where they take into consideration your height and your weight. It spits out this magic number that tells you what your BMI is. Unfortunately, this system is old and antiquated, and it's only meant for, I guess, average people. It doesn't take into consideration if you have a lot of lean muscle mass. For instance, take myself for example. If you plug in my height and weight, according to the BMI index, I am severely obese. Now, granted, I'm no lean, mean string bean, but I promise you I'm not severely obese. So a more accurate way to get a gauge of your body composition is by determining your body fat percentage. A couple different ways to do this. The most common way you'll see most trainers use, most gyms, is a skin fold test where they use a set of body fat calipers, measure the skin folds. Sometimes there's a 3-site measurement. Some go with a 7-site measurement. Add all these measurements up and it spits out what your body fat percentage is, meaning that it tells you what percentage of your overall body weight is fat, and the rest is lean muscle, bones, organs, fluids, that sort of thing. The most accurate way to determine your body fat percentage would be hydrostatic testing, which is where they submerge you underwater and they determine how much air is residual inside of you, and then through that they can compute what your actual body fat percentage is. Granted, it is more accurate, but for most general purposes, a skin fold test is more than adequate. It gives you a base point. You know where you're starting at. From there, you continue to work, eat properly, etc., and you progressively measure your body fat percentage, and ideally, you'll see that drop, which is a good thing. So since so many of you are at that stage where you're trying to improve your body composition, we're going to do probably a 2-part video series here. And this first one, part 1, we're going to cover that all-important 96%. Remember the other 23 hours of the day? That's the most important, just like we talked about in the last video. So we're going to cover nutrition, how to make it real simple and easy, and just take all the complexities out of it for you so you can do this the right way without making it too hard. First thing I want to talk about is diets. Diet is a 4-letter word. By every sense of it, it's a bad, ugly word. These fad diets, they don't work. They're unhealthy, they're unsustainable, and more often than not, they lead to yo-yoing of your weight, meaning that you set your diet, you set your goal, you starve yourself until you lose the weight, then you immediately come off the diet because you've reached your goal, and you come off that diet because what you were on was not sustainable, and your weight skyrockets back up out of control because you haven't made lifestyle changes that you can live with. I even heard of a diet recently, I believe it's called HCG, something for women, where they take these drops, and I think it's got women's hormones or something in it, and you restrict yourself to 500 calories a day. Also, exercise is not recommended. Of course it's not. If you're starving yourself on 500 calories a day, your body is not getting enough energy to sustain normal daily living activities. So you're losing weight because what you're losing is very valuable lean muscle mass. Your body's not getting the nutrients it needs, so it starts turning on itself and pulling energy and eating away at your muscle. Bad deal. Stay away from diets. One thing I will talk about is these different systems that's out there. Things like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig. Now, I don't really have anything bad to say about them because fundamentally what they're doing is teaching you, educating you on how to make smarter decisions about what you're putting into your body. So if you're counting down your points for Weight Watchers and how many you can consume that day, you start looking at the food differently that you put inside your body. That salad that you've been eating for dinner that you thought was so healthy because it's a salad. You realize it's not so healthy with all the extra toppings and the cheese and the thick, creamy dressings. So it teaches you how to be aware of what you're putting in your body and look for healthier options. The other thing it provides for some people that's very valuable is accountability. Some people can't quite do it on their own and they need something or someone, some sort of system to hold them accountable. And that's what these systems provide. So I've got nothing bad to say about these types of systems if that's what you want. They do work. But personally, what I prefer is just good, lean, clean, nutritious eating. And just eating whole foods, learning what to put into your body. We talked in the last video about getting rid of the crap. You remember what crap stood for? Carbonated beverages, refined sugars, artificial foods, and processed foods. That's the crap. It's got to go. Let's get down to good whole foods. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Not except the bakery part over here. Stay away. But the other side, where all your fresh vegetables and produce are, the back side where the deli or the meat section, the produce section, the seafood section, that's where you get your good, whole, nutritious foods. You want to make sure you're consuming plenty of protein. You want to get those from good quality sources, lean meats, your poultry, chicken, and turkey. You can even have lean red meat. I'm not giving up my steaks. Fish is another excellent source of lean protein, especially your cold water fish, cod, tilapia, salmon, and so forth. You want to make sure you're getting some heart-healthy carbs, your whole wheats, your oats, carbs from your vegetables, legumes, that sort of thing. Just don't do it on the whole wheats. You want to minimize your carb intake. They're not that great. And then also your healthy fats. We get healthy fats from avocados, nuts, olive oil, and of course fish. People see high fat content on a pack of nuts and they think, oh, that's horrible, it's high in fat. Yes, but it's good fat. It's the fat that raises the good cholesterol and lowers the bad cholesterol. Those are the types of fat we want. What you want to stay away from is your saturated fats and your trans fats. These are the ones that greatly increase your risk for cardiovascular disease. So now that we've talked about what to put in our bodies, now let's talk about how much. This doesn't have to be a science either. We're not talking about counting calories for the rest of your life or breaking out that food scale and measuring every single portion you serve yourself. It doesn't have to be a science. The only time it needs to be that way is if you're at the competition level. And if you are, then you're way past watching this video. So let's talk about real quick, easy references that will help you properly guesstimate your portion sizes. One of the most common serving sizes is a cup. Standard measuring cup. Okay, well, we don't always have these handy and you don't want to have to take the time to scoop and measure everything out. So you want to compare this to a fist. Now, these measurements and comparisons are based on the average woman's hand size. So for a man, you might want to not count that last pinky there. But there's your cup, 1 cup serving. You put it on your plate, it's about the size of your fist, you're good to go. Now for your meat servings, that's 3 ounce size serving of meat. The palm of your hand, that's no fingers, just the palm. Again, we're talking about a woman's hand. I know some of you dudes got those great big old hams, so don't think you can sit down with a 16 ounce sirloin and say, oh, it's only 1 serving. So for you big-handed dudes, think more about the size of a deck of playing cards. That's a 3 ounce serving of meat. Or if you're looking at a fish fillet, something like that, checkbook. There's your 3-ounce serving of meat. If you want something like cheese, a snack of cheese, your thumb, the entire thumb, that's a 1-ounce serving of cheese right there. Sticking with the thumb, if you go to the tip of the thumb, down to your first joint, that's a teaspoon, whether you're measuring olive oil, butter, peanut butter, whatever it may be. And in case you're wondering, and it takes 3 of these thumb tips, teaspoons, to make 1 tablespoon. Snacks, let's say you want to get a little snack. We have treats, we have cheats. Sometimes we're going to snack. It's okay, you don't have to make this an unbearable meal plan you're on. So if you want to snack, say, some nuts or maybe even some small hard candies, 1 little handful, that's a 1-ounce serving. If you're going for chips or pretzels, which I hope you're not doing too often, that's a 2-hand serving. I'm not talking about the 2-hand serving piled all the way up here that you're balancing like you're playing Jenga in your hands. Just a brief 2-hand serving. That's your 1-ounce serving of chips and or pretzels or something of that nature. And when it comes to fruit, just think of a tennis ball. That is 1 serving size of fruit. We've talked about individual serving size, but how do I fix my plate? Very simple. Draw a line mentally right across the middle of your plate. Fill up half of that plate with vegetables. The remaining half, you cut that in half so you have 2 quarters left. 1 quarter you fill with your lean protein. The other quarter, your heart-healthy carbs, healthy starches, so on and so forth. That's a real easy way to know how much of what to eat and the ratios. And when it comes to vegetables, honestly, fruits the same way. You can eat as much as you want. That stuff is not going to hurt you. Well, folks, this wraps up part 1 of working on our body composition. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it educational. And next week we'll work on part 2. Again, Ben Orman with 3D Fitness. Thanks for tuning in and have a blessed day.